There are many tutorials on the internet about how to properly set up a silk material. In this lesson, I'll show you the correct way to achieve a realistic result when creating a silk material in coronarender.
My name is Nikita. On this channel, you'll find a lot of useful lessons on the topic of architectural visualization. Subscribe to don't miss new useful videos.
Let's take a look at a reference for the silk material. So, we are interested in the front-facing surface and the tangent. Here, I've marked the points schematically. The first point is the front-facing surface, which is quite dark. Next, we see a second zone, which takes on a sharp light tone. This is the highlight zone that we'll need to create. And right after this highlight zone, we have a smooth gradient along the tangent. Let's do this. I've created a simple Corona Physical MTL. Right-click, Materials, Corona Physical MTL, and connected a falloff node to it. Right-click, Maps, General, Falloff. This node allows us to control exactly what I just described. I've enabled the material preview, and in the falloff node, you can see a graph. Everything closer to the center represents our front-facing surface. The right side of the graph and beyond represent the tangent of our mesh. The red color is applied to the front-facing part of the graph, and as a result, the front-facing part of the sphere is red. If I now modify this graph by adding new points and moving them, you'll see the changes. For instance, where the graph has a sharp edge, we see a sharp transition from red to black. If I soften this point by right-clicking and selecting Bezier Smooth, the sharp edge becomes smooth. Okay, now let's recreate what we saw in the reference. The center should have a slightly dark area. I'll delete this point, select it, and press the cross icon. The center of the element is represented by this point. I'll select it, choose Move, and shift it slightly upwards. Next, around here, to recreate a bright highlight and have a bright stripe, I'll add a new point. I click on the graph line, select Move, and move this point down. Then, to create a clear transition to the dark area after this highlight, I'll add another point and move it up. Okay, this is what we need. Now we have a bright highlight with a clear transition followed by the tangent of the mesh. Let's take a look at how it appears in the render. I've applied the material to the curtain, started the interactive render, and you can see the result. It is very similar to the silk material. To make the silk effect even stronger, I can adjust these points. You can also change the color in this graph. To make the highlight even more noticeable, I can add a point here and raise it slightly. Now the highlight is even brighter. It's easiest to initially set up this material using the material preview. You can open the preview by right-clicking on the material and selecting Open Preview window. Let's try softening these 2 points a bit. I'll select them and choose either Bezier Smooth or Bezier Corner, depending on your needs. I'll start the interactive render again. Okay, let's stop here. Overall, the material is ready, but I'd like to add a bit of roughness. I have a map for scratches and roughness, which I'll import into 3ds Max. You'll be able to download this map along with the finished material using the link in the description of this lesson. Now we have the material and the falloff map. I can connect a color correction node to the falloff map to flexibly adjust its color. Right-click, Maps, General, Color Correction. Using the left mouse button, I drag this node and, while holding Ctrl, connect it to the chain. Okay, now I can adjust the color of my curtains flexibly. Next, I'll use a Mix node. Right-click, Maps, General, Mix. This node allows you to blend colors and maps using a black and white mask. I'll use my scratch map as the mask. I'll add our chain to slot 1 And for slot 2, I'll copy the color correction node by holding Shift, dragging with the left mouse button, and connecting it to slot 2. I'll apply the mix node to the base color slot. Now I just need to adjust the contrast in the second color correction node, and you can see the result. I also have a bump map which I'll import into 3ds Max and apply to the bump slot of the material. I'll reduce the scale by about 3 times and decrease the bump intensity. I'll select the material, find the bump slot, and reduce the intensity by about 10 times. Okay, that's what we need.
Don't forget to leave a like if you find this lesson helpful. Share your opinion in the comments. Your feedback is important to me. See you next time.